And we're back, baby. Real Estate in Different States, episode 13. Me and my buddy Blake about to do it again, like we always do. Today we have a special guest. I'm going to let you introduce him, Blake, because he's your friend. So go ahead.
Sure. I got my good buddy up here, Stephen Owens, who transitioned and did the same thing that I have done into the mortgage worlds. Can't wait to hear more about his story. So let's get into it. Stephen, Steve-O, as all the homies call you. Just tell us a little bit more about yourself, bud.
I live in the hometown that I grew up in. Never expected to do that. Tried to escape. Went to Central Texas. Went to Texas State University after high school. Had a great time. Decided that I was going to get my master's. And I guess about a year into that, I had a female come and visit me and convinced me that I needed to move back home. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. But 6 months after that, I found myself living with my parents. And I needed to get the hell out of there. so, so I had to find something to do. And I've done a lot of things. I was in the restaurant industry for a while. We moved and decided to get married and have a family. I think it actually started backwards. Like I really wanted to have kids, and she got to put a ring on it first. That's unfortunate. But anyway, we got married, and now we've been together for 14 years, and we're both in the real estate business now. And there was some other job in there, but that's about how it all went down.
So you went to the actual Southwest Texas, right? Before it was Texas State.
Yes, I was an old man. So for the first 2 years, it was Texas State. And then we had a vote whether to move it to Texas State from Southwest, and all the student body voted on it. And so we switched over halfway through there, and I could have picked my diploma.
What does your diploma say? I'm just curious.
It's pretty funny. It's in kinesiology, and I have a minor in geography.
Oh, I mean, does it say Southwest or Texas State?
It says Texas State.
Okay.
Hey, I'll be the dumb one to ask. I don't even know what kinesiology is.
What? It's P. P. So I'm the only
Okay,
PE coach
let's
in
stick with
Texas that can
kinesiology.
name-
That sounds way cooler.
I'm the only PE coach in Texas that can tell you where every country in the world is.
You really can?
Oh yeah.
You were the history. Okay, so let's get into that. So tell us about your career before you decided to work for yourself.
Okay, so I got into teaching at Barbara my alma mater, and I was working at a restaurant. I'm like, this ain't really doing it for me. I will be a history teacher. And I passed my test, and I called the coach that I used to. He used to coach me. It has to be one of his employees, and he hired me on as a middle school football coach. And then I spent 9 years coaching, and it was great, and I loved it, and I'm glad that I did. And moved on from there, went to a different high school in Inner Houston, and that was also very good times. But eventually, once my wife started developing her real estate business, it was time for one of us to be at home more often, and I decided that person was supposed to be me.
Stay at home dad. I like it. That's a good plan.
I wouldn't say stay at home dad.
That's always been my dream, man. I tell Diana, you got to make enough money so I can just stay home and be a full-time dad.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I have a question about that. So you were a teacher, and then while you were teaching, your wife was a real estate agent. Is that what I'm getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's interesting. That's a lot of people I hear are very similar in that they end up eventually becoming a full-time entrepreneur, whatever, by one person doing that while the other stays at home or has a W-2 income or something coming in to help. So I just find that interesting.
I think part of it's there's always those fears like insurance and retirement and these things that entrepreneurs don't always, they don't have actually a plan for. So I figured I was doing my service doing this to make sure that we got 2 paychecks coming in every month, and insurance was paid for. And I didn't did not dislike it. It was just one of those things that it was once we decided we opened up a real estate office, and once that went down, we had to make some changes as far as the time goes, because there was definitely a few years when she was starting off, and I'll give her 90% of credit, maybe not that much, maybe like age, but I'll give her a little bit of credit on the fact that she inspired me to move on and do something else.
See, that's what we were talking about earlier, is where I said when we bought this house that we're at right now, I just transitioned into the mortgage, working for myself mortgage, from the credit union mortgage to guarantee mortgage. And that Diana had her W-2 job as a teacher. And that is the only reason that we were able to get this house. And I know you said the same thing as well, that when y'all bought y'all's house in Plantation, that because you had your W-2 job as a teacher, y'all were able to do that. You probably wouldn't be able to do that when Julia just got started, because, as we both know, you have to have at least 2 years of your tax returns as self-employed before you can do any sort of loan. So I thought that was cool that we were both in the same situation. Prepare yourself. One of the spouses was still W-2, which makes it easy to get loans and all of that, while the other was exploring options and trying to become self-employed and run a business. I think that was leading up into my next question of how did you prepare to make the jump over from teaching and coaching to working for yourself?
I'd taken classes on it already, so those don't mean anything. Obviously, Blake, you know that in our business, the classes don't mean anything about learning your craft.
Oh, no, they tell me a lot. What are you talking about?
They didn't teach me anything. But I was able to pass the test.
Yeah.
And so I'd already taken the class, passed the test. It was no big deal. So in 2015, I decided to revisit that situation. I wasn't real happy with what I was doing. As a head baseball coach at a 6A high school in Houston, and I was the only head baseball coach that was having to also coach football. And they told me they were going to get me out. They did not get me out. And so I decided that, hey, I'm going to talk to my keys and call it another day, and I'm going to figure out something else to do. And I'd already gone down that, or started down that avenue. We were starting the office. So I was like, hey, if I can figure out a way just to do my wife's loans, then we'll figure it out. It'll be just fine. It's not going to be that big a deal. So that was the push that got me out. That and the fact that I felt like her family and my friends were raising my children, and I didn't really like that very much.
I completely understand that. Yeah, no, I really do. That, from the few people that we've interviewed, I don't know what it is now, maybe 4 or 5 or 6, but there has been a lot that has said, especially in the Army, especially talking about Andrew here, that he was in the Army and what they told him wasn't exactly what happened, or he felt that they didn't treat him right, or he really realized that if I got sick today and died, that they'd replace me tomorrow. I don't mean that much to him. Do you feel like that was an influence? I think because you mentioned the baseball, football thing, and they told you one thing and didn't do it. Do you feel like that really pushed you or influenced you of just maybe they don't really care about me as much as I thought they did?
Once I told my last head coach that I worked for at C King that I was leaving, he asked for me to turn all my stuff in. And I actually walked in on him interviewing my replacement.
Oh,
Wow. Which was fine. I'd already made up my mind that I was gone. But I was like, oh man, my clothes they're not even cold yet. It's once I started thinking about that, I'm like, they don't care. They don't care. And that's the problem with working in some of these jobs, these occupations, is they really don't care. And real quick, I realized that I'm going to be the only one that cares about what I'm doing. The school's not going to. They'll just bring somebody else in. I met the guy, gave him a high five. Hey, good luck.
Yeah,
Like,
that's funny. I
if
mean,
you can
I think
fit into my
you're
pants,
right, for
if
sure.
you can fit into my pants or locker number 8.
what size do you wear? 32, 30s?
In those days, I may be a little heavier. So I retired from coaching. I slipped up.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I'm like 32, 34, something like that. I'm like, hey, dude, here's my jacket. Here's my keys. Here, you have fun. You can go for it. I wasn't mad though. There was nothing that was upset about it at the time. It was time for me to check out at that point.
Yeah. So I hear a lot about teachers and coaches whenever you guys transition over to doing something completely different. I get the point that the system doesn't care, but I feel like there's people you guys impact along the way that probably you still do care about, and they probably kids especially probably still because I remember Blake Coach Hillen whenever he left Lee High School baseball
Well,
and he made the announcement that he was leaving. A lot of people cared when he was, I know, doing the best thing for his family and going to take a different job, but we were like, "What? No way. Coach is leaving, like, what's gonna happen?" And I'm sure you probably had a similar thing happen, but, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to make the best decision for yourself, but the system doesn't care, but I guarantee you the kids care, dude, for sure.
no, no. So the one thing about coaching and teaching these days that I realize it's really not about how the kids feel. It is to the people that are in it, but
Yeah.
for the parents and administration, it's not the same. Like I tell people all the time, it's like what is that movie? The Breakfast Club. Hey, dude, the kids ain't changed. You have. And, and what I've realized is these kids still call me all the time. They're now adults with children, and hey, coach, can I get some advice? I'm like, I don't know if I should be the one you're calling. But I'll tell you what I think.
Yeah.
So
The fact they're
those
calling you,
relationships,
that means something. It's something
for
right.
sure, yeah, for sure. The relationship I have with the kids is why I coach. I feel see some of those guys sometimes. Every once in a while, they'll stop by and they stay way too late, and I don't feel good the next day. But you know what? I feel like it's like a rite of passage for a coach to have a kid show up and hang out with their year-old coach, and you're just like, okay, I'll do this because I've had coaches I've done that with too. It's a cool experience, and I've enjoyed it.
No, and I could totally vouch for that for sure. I've even seen kids come up and, or even a mom that works with us, and Steven coached her kid. They're still asking about Steven and still stopping by and saying what's up and maybe having a beer or two, too late on a weekday, like Steven said. But yeah, no, he's impacted some lives for sure. But as you said, just like Coach Hillen, you got to do what's best for your family at a certain point. Unfortunately, in the school system, just doesn't pay and doesn't do what they should do.
I got a good Chuck Dillon story. You want to hear it?
No, my next question is, how long did you think about making the jump before you made the jump? How long were you thinking about, or did you think, okay, let me start with this one. And I actually didn't write this question down. Was there any other avenues you thought about before mortgages, or was it just always mortgages?
No, I didn't have a plan. I'll be honest. I had no plans whatsoever. At the time, I'm not going to say like I was one of those guys who did something brave and went out on my own and just created this thing because I was just so sick of the system. It was more one of those things like I knew we were going to be okay no matter what. Because at the time, my wife was doing well, and I was like, hey, this is not that big a deal. The big deal is I was so afraid to fail. The money wasn't really that big a deal at that time. It's different now, but at the time it wasn't. And I just the money that was not a big deal. It wasn't that. It was like I'm just going to do something. I'm going to find something I like to do. I've always liked working with numbers. I do helping people. I do coaching people up. I do teaching people things. And once I figured out that this was one of those opportunities I could do all those things while doing this job, it was really sad.
That's a good point. So have you ever got someone on the phone that was making a stupid decision for a mortgage and your coaching instinct kicked in, you got like aggressive or something? I don't like that laugh.
There's been a couple of times, and not for the most part, but there's been a couple of times where a boyfriend and a girlfriend call me up and say, hey, we're in love. We're not ready to get married, but we all be on this house note together where I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, you do understand by the law of the state of Texas that you're both responsible for this. And there's some things that come up sometimes and maybe a tough one to work through at some point. But I always tell people up front, here's the things you got to worry about. This is as long as you're confident and cool and you're good, I'm good.
Very nice.
I got a question for you, Stevens. I don't know what your position was financially before you made the jump. You said your wife was doing well, but with as a teacher, school system employee, you do have the insurance. You have a lot of benefits being in a position like that. Did you guys prepare at all before you left? Did you set up did you go get private insurance before? Did you get and maybe an HSA account, or did you say I'm going to have a certain amount saved up for XYZ, or did you be like, nope, I'm making the jump and I'm going to figure it out?
We did have savings. I figured that as long as she continued doing what she was doing, we were going to be pretty much fine. And then we went over to individual insurance, which you can get pretty cheap. And we've been lucky enough, and knock on metal, that we've never really been, no one in my house has ever really been sick before or broken a bone or done anything. If anything, I've had more accidents than the kids have. But no, I guess we didn't really actually put a whole lot of time in that. We decided that this was going to work. And my wife is the ultimate optimist, and I'm not that guy, but she convinced me that everything was going to be okay. So I said, you're right. Everything's going to be okay. And I just went with it. I mean, I had some regrets about 6 months into it because learning a new occupation is really not about how smart you are at all. It's really about learning a new language. That's really all it is. If you're smart, you can learn the new language. If you can figure it out, you can figure it out. So I wasn't worried about that. So I knew I was going to get it, but it just took me a while to feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah, build confidence. Exactly. You got to build confidence
Exactly.
in doing what you're
Yeah.
doing. And that's
Yeah.
that's where I'm at too. And it's my home building thing I'm doing. Absolutely. Like I've had 2 or 3 people come to me and want me to build them a house. And I'm like, pump your brakes, buddy. Let me get confident in knowing what I'm doing. Let me mess up my houses before I go mess up yours. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I understand completely where you're coming
Well, yeah, because I don't think Steven knows, but Kyle just recently got his builder's license a couple months ago. He hasn't quite built his first house yet. He's done remodeling. He's done a lot of flips. He's been taking on flips, like once a month or so, but he's about to build his first house. So,
from. We got our block laid today. So
did you?
yeah.
Congrats,
We're,
bud.
we're rocking and rolling.
Nice.
Well, what you'll find is with everyone you do, you'll get better every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's
But
what you
it's all
said.
about
Let me
confidence.
mess up my own houses first before I mess up your house. Like,
Yeah.
couple trial and errors, but yeah, that's exciting, man.
Yeah, but no, I totally relate to the confidence thing because the thing is, once you get your confidence, it's like you're unstoppable. You just got to learn your craft, do a couple deals, get confident, and then you're good. You just keep
Yeah.
going.
And like I was just texting Kyle earlier because I've done a few flips, but I haven't actually done any from wholesalers. I just joined some investment groups and I got a wholesaler that I'm meeting tomorrow. And I screenshotted Kyle what he said to me. I was like, dude, give me some advice because I've never dealt with a wholesaler. I've just, from my flips that I've had, I've always gotten them myself. So I don't know how to deal with this, but I know Kyle's dealt with wholesalers like what, 15 to 20 times. So,
Not that many. None.
man, I don't know, dude. Whatever. More than one.
People will watch this. I don't want them to be hating on me.
Well, I'm
Not
just
that
saying.
many.
I was like,
A
dude,
few,
give
a
me some
few
advice
times.
because I'm going to meet this guy tomorrow and I have no idea how to handle wholesalers. We'll see how that goes.
You'll be all right.
Well, the guys that screw up are the assholes that go into it and try to feel they know everything. And
Yeah.
what I've learned is
Love
that
that.
asking somebody that has more experience than I do is completely okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely. Never reinvent the wheel. Just use someone else's wheel that's already done it for sure.
Exactly.
And I've heard people tell me, never tell somebody you don't know. And I understand what they're saying in the
No,
sales
that's
talks,
dumb.
but I'm not afraid to tell somebody straight up, "Look, I don't know, but I'm find out. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
leave you hanging, but I'm not gonna blow smoke up. I'm not gonna do that, but I'm not afraid to tell somebody, 'Look, I don't know that answer, but I'll find out for you.'" It's to me,
Dude, I
that's
completely agree
okay
with
to
that.
tell somebody that
Absolutely.
you don't know.
I completely agree with that too. I tell people I don't know all the time,
So do
especially when the
I.
situation comes by. I'm like, listen, I'll figure it out, but I do not know this situation. And I
Yeah.
think it's completely okay because people would rather honesty. We're in a world that nobody wants to be honest. And if you tell them, hey, we don't really know what it is, I think you're going to be just fine.
Yeah, for sure. And because 'cause they're gonna find out anyway. They're gonna if you try to make unless you get lucky and you're right. If you tell them some BS that you think is right and then they find out you're wrong, then their trust in you's gone, which is your integrity is all you have, especially in any real estate, mortgage, building, general contracting, anything where you're providing a service to somebody. So once they find out that lied to them, even if it was a white lie or you had good intentions, your reputation's done, especially nowadays with Facebook,
Well,
Google, all that, like, you're done.
Dude, absolutely. Especially with, as you just said, Facebook, the internet. If you lie one time in Baytown, that's what people tell me all the time. They're like, "Hey, I know we're friends, but please don't share my financial information with people." I'm like, if I have done over 500 loans, seriously, I've done over 500 loans. If I shared one person's information, I would do zero more loans because it would be all over Facebook. It would be all over everything. And I would not be employed anymore. You know, I would not be doing mortgages if one person knew that I shared any sort of their information. I completely agree with that. You can it's all integrity. It's all privacy.
Yeah, for sure. To me, there's
yeah,
no
you got
point.
somebody at the meat aisle and HEB giving you shit. I'm like, fuck
Yeah.
that.
And that's what I tell people. I'm like, dude, I live in the same town as you. If I am lying to you, you will see me in HEB and you can call me out. Here's my office up here. You can come see me anytime you want. This is my home address. You can come see me at my home. I am not lying to you. I'm not some dude in wherever from Rocket Mortgage. It's 2,000 miles away until you
I'm
telling me
in
some
Wyoming,
huh?
like, in Wyoming,
Yeah,
giving
dude, I'm not joking. I I had a client that I had been dealing with since April 9th, and they text me, they're like, they finally get under contract. April 9th. We're going on almost 5 months right now. And they text me, they're like, hey, I'm just giving them daily updates or whatever, rates and stuff like that. And they're like, hey, we got under contract, but this other mortgage loan officer is giving us a 5.6. And I'm like, I text him like, dude, there's no way 5.6 is 18 months ago. There's no way. So I'm like, do me a favor, just ask for a fees worksheet. Just ask for a fees worksheet. And I promise you it's not going to be what you think it's going to be. Sends me the fees worksheet. Of course, it's not a 5.6. It's a 6.75 with $5,000 buy down. And I'm offering this dude a 6.4 with no buy down. So I'm giving him a 0.25, more than a 0.25 rate lower, plus saving him $5,000 in discount points or buy down points. Like I told you, dude, when it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. I don't know how I got on that. Sorry. But I think we're at about 36 minutes. So I got a lot more questions for Steven. Y'all good for round two?
I'm
Sure.
good for round 2, and I'm just waiting on one of you guys to get licensed in the state of Tennessee. Blake I don't think Blake's very motivated, Steven, so I think if you get
Hey,
licensed,
hey. How's my friend? Calm down, okay?
I've been telling him.
I'm getting licensed, buddy. All right. This was episode 13, real estate in different states. We will see y'all on episode 14.
Is it over?
If I can get this to end.